In 2007, Bulgaria joined the European Union. 18 months later, the EU had to take drastic action against this new member state.
The European Union has suspended almost 500 million euros in assistance to Bulgaria because of alleged corruption and organised crime.
Roma gangs from Bulgaria and its neighbouring countries are accused of making millions of pounds from pickpocketing and prostitution on the streets of the UK.
Излизат под формата на джипчийски кражби от Обединеното кралство.
I meet the gangs who see Britain as a soft target. And I speak to the police who are trying to tackle the problem.
Someone somewhere has brought them in, sorted them out and set them to work.
My journey into the world of gypsy gangs starts in London. With the relaxation of borders, Western Europe has become a target for Eastern European criminal gangs. And it wasn't long before the British press was full of horror stories predicting a crime wave. To try to get an idea of the scale of the problem, I'm accompanying the British Transport Police onto London's tube network. Around 35% of the people they arrest for pickpocketing are from Bulgaria. We've had to hide the faces of the undercover officers to protect their identity.
I think we've got some potential pickpockets up here.
Got two females stopped going up beside someone and getting on the train. She's got them there. And then pulled away from them. The two females there.
Hang on a minute. We've been down here literally, what, 1 minute?
The basically just stopped these two girls who were acting suspiciously around a commuter. They've stopped them.
Basically, what they'll do is they carry scarves and headscarves and stuff. They use disguises as they go around the system to change their appearance. So she's got a cap. There's a pair of sunglasses in there as well. It's all there to conceal her identity, obviously because of CCTV and everything else.
This is the type of thing that is used. And they try and disguise the hand from the activity that it's doing, because obviously all you see is a black scarf.
She's got a train ticket there. It's been bought at 9:30 this morning. Right. So basically she's been out on the system today for the last 8 hours. The reason they've been stopped in the first place is because they've crossed over platforms, they've gone up behind a member of the public who was getting on the train.
Yeah.
They've not physically got on the train themselves, they've pulled away at the last moment.
Right.
So we'll go upstairs and find out exactly what they're up to, hopefully.
The officer that actually spotted them originally, the two suspects are known to him. He's arrested them before for pickpocketing on this very station.
The officers take the two women away for further questioning. I have to say, they don't seem particularly upset about being apprehended.
You are new.
Yeah, you sir.
The actual alleged pickpocket has just looked at me and the officer next to me and said, "You are new and you are new," which makes you think that she might have met the Transport Police before.
The women are searched for any evidence of pickpocketing.
Do you know why the police stopped you?
I don't do nothing. I don't do pickpocket too long time. Now I'm personally.
But you have pickpocketed before.
Before, but now I don't do nothing.
The police don't find any incriminating evidence apart from their disguises. They're told to go home, but they can't use the underground.
The surprising thing for me was the fact that the officers were only on the platform for a matter of minutes before they spotted the two suspects operating.
As the police, we can only do what we can do in terms of arresting people.
Right.
Unfortunately, Ross, we don't hand out the sentences.
Right.
If they're not stiff enough, then you get repeat offending. The rewards outweigh the consequences.
The police tell me that on average, they arrest around 10 pickpockets a week on the tube. It's said that pickpockets make in excess of £200 a day. Back at their headquarters, DC Gilson and his colleague, Detective Chief Inspector Kevin Shanahan, explain how the pickpockets operate.
Okay, you can see now, this is an entrance at Knightsbridge Tube Station. There he is now. There's the thief coming forward, hand into the bag. It's done.
That quickly?
Yeah, that quickly.
Literally seconds.
Can you see that again, please?
Right. Here she is now.
Victim here, coming in frame now.
There's a victim coming in now.
There
There's
she
the
is.
thief. He's
There he is,
already
hands
into the
to the
bag.
hand.
He's already in there.
There's the hand, look.
He's opening the bag. You see the newspaper in his hand. If he's challenged you, cover his hand. He's got it. He's now...
Now he's off.
She has no idea.
She has no idea.
How big a problem is it?
We've always had a problem with pickpocketing on the underground, but we've had a phenomenon when we've had a number of countries join the European Union early in 2007, and we had a spike. And we saw that we were arresting a lot of individuals from these new accession countries.
You're looking at predominantly Bulgaria, Romania, and some Polish.
So this is Victoria Station, yeah?
This is Victoria Station, and that's our victim there with the earphones on.
Yep. And where are our guys?
Okay, our guys are those two there, and the two behind them. They're with them as well. But if you watch them now, going across the screen, following the victim.
They're behind him now, yeah.
And they've targeted him as their prey.
They've seen that the wallet is kept in the pocket there because he's now using it to buy a ticket.
So he's obviously just got his ticket, got his change. We just watch this carefully now. The victim's moving away. If you watch this guy here, you'll see him make space in his trouser pocket. There he goes. He takes his wallet out. Now he goes in for the prey.
Beats him, yeah.
Turns around, but the victim's aware, and this time he's not successful.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've been caught now, yeah?
These are our officers now going in to arrest.
In terms of the Bulgarian story that we're going to look at, we've been told that there are gypsy gangs operating in the UK. Do you know that to be true?
Yes. We've got information and intelligence to suggest that is correct.
What other things are these people into, these criminals?
They're involved in prostitution, running brothels. They're involved in identity and credit card thefts. I wouldn't like to put a figure on it, but it must run into the millions.
Millions?
I think so. I think so.
What I've seen today is just a small part of the problem here in the UK. I'm travelling to Bulgaria to meet up with the Romani gangs who are said to be running criminal networks on the streets of the UK.
I'm in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. We've come here to attempt to uncover the truth about one of the most despised ethnic groups in Europe, and to find out if the allegations made against them, which range from prostitution, pickpocketing, drug dealing and human trafficking, are true. And if they are, what impact these Roma gypsy gangs are having on the streets of Britain.
However, getting people to talk openly on camera isn't going to be that easy. After the Second World War, Bulgaria's Communist Party came to power and ruled for over 40 years. They operated one of the Cold War's most notorious spy networks, and its secret police was infamous. Like the Stasi in East Germany, many Bulgarians live with a genuine fear of being snitched on by their neighbours. The remnants of that state-created paranoia still exists today. The majority of the gypsies in Sofia, Bulgaria's capital, live on the outskirts of the city.
We're just about to enter a place called Faculteta. It's a gypsy ghetto, and it's estimated there are around 40 to 45,000 gypsies living here. They were first moved here by the communist regime some 50 years ago, and I don't suppose at the time they had any idea that the place would swell to such an extent. Our contact here is a guy called Mishu. He works for an NGO that's sponsored by the European Union, and hopefully he'll get us a meet with some of the leaders here.
In comparison to the rest of Sofia, this place feels neglected and has seen little or no investment. I'm interested to find out from Mishu why, after the fall of the communist regime, the Gypsies still choose to live together in this ghetto.
И логично е да се събират на едно място, там където се познават циганите, където биха могли да си помагат един на друг.
So basically other Roman people from all over Bulgaria come here because they know they're safe here.
Не бих казал, че е безопасно. Дори и за българите не бих казал, че е безопасно.
Can you tell me what percentage of the people living here are unemployed?
Мисля, че истината е някъде между 70 и 80%. До много проблеми. Тъй като преходът, за съжаление, за ромите не беше така най-добрия, който можеше да предложи.
What would you say at the moment is the present relationship between the Bulgarian people and the Roman people?
Понякога са повече изкуствени тези проблеми, отколкото истински така създадените. Предполагам най-вероятно, това са някакви бивши ченгета, които са се организирали в някаква такава политическа организация и в момента търсят също своето място, така да се каже, в политическия живот.
Why do they have an agenda against the Roman people?
Мръсни, черни и грозни. Те просто мразят по презумпция мразят роми.
It's early evening in Faculteta, and Mishu has arranged for me to meet up with some of the locals. I want to hear their views on the Roma gangs operating here and in the UK. However, no one is prepared to talk to me.
I have to say, this is a very different place to the one that I imagined before I got here. I was expecting to buy high-rises. I was also more poverty. I mean, there's lots of rubbish here and people are genuinely poor. But there are also people driving around in brand new Mercedes, BMWs. And you have to wonder, where's that money coming from if there's 80 to 90% unemployment? Anyway, I think what we need to do is just look further and ask a few more questions. But the people here are very wary of us. I think we're the first time a field crew's ever come in here, particularly one from the UK. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
News travels fast amongst the Roma people, and it's not long before I'm summoned to a meeting with the head of the Euro-Roma party, Don Cheche. His real name is Zevelin Kanchev. Last year, his outspoken views on gypsy gangs targeting the UK made headline news.
He's disliked heavily by the far right here and by many Bulgarians who despise the fact that the gypsies have a political party. One thing's for sure, if he managed to galvanise all the gypsies throughout Europe, he'd have a very powerful lobby indeed.
He's asked to meet me at his office in a small town a couple of hours' drive outside of Sofia. By his own admittance, Kanchev has made many enemies, so employs a small army of armed bodyguards to protect him and his family. A wealthy Roma gypsy, his life seems very different from those I met in Faculteta.
Mr. Kanchev, how are you? Добър ден.
Thank you. Добър ден. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. See here? I can ask you a simple question. Why you? Why are you the leader of the Roma party?
Мисля, че други трябва да отговорят на този въпрос. Тези, които са ми избрали, те трябва да отговорят на този въпрос.
That's a very political answer.
В принцип, аз не търгувам с зеленчуци.
Okay.
Занимавам се с политика.
But you weren't always. Had the government tried to stop you in any way, tried to halt your political aspirations?
99-та година аз бях арестуван и бях каран в затвора. 6 месеца след като бе създана на Евророма, аз бях арестуван, бях каран в затвора и знаете ли за какво ме осъдиха? За грабеж на куче. Грабеж на куче, оценено на 22 лева. 22 лева. Затова му осъдиха на 6 години.
Right.
6 години затвор.
Mr. Kanchev didn't spend long behind bars. He was quickly pardoned by the Prime Minister, who, like many politicians in Bulgaria, understands the importance of keeping the Roma gypsies on side. Their bloc vote is essential to winning an election. Mr. Kanchev has invited the heads of the various Roma clans from all over Bulgaria to join him and myself for lunch. However, there is one clan that's missing.
Просто няма кардараши в партията.
Why is that?
Кардараши не искаме в партията повече, защото те там са всеки срещу всеки. При тях няма единство при кардарашите.
Джепчиите 99% в България са кардараши. Не може да ми бъде един човек лидер, който си продава детето.
But is that their tradition? Do other people do it?
Наши кардарашите разсъждават така. Само ние сме родени, за да живееме щастливо и богато. Всички останали са създадени, за да ни бъдат слуги.
Well, okay, in the UK then, is it just the Kalarashi that are doing the pickpocketing, or is it all gypsies that come from Bulgaria?
От другите касти няма джипчи.
Ерли, калажи,
решетари, ерли, калажи, няма
джепчи, само кардараши.
And you guys do not agree with what they do?
Абсолютно.
Аз имам един контравъпрос към Дина.
Ясно.
Защо само непрекъснато питате само за калдарашите? Искате да чуете нещо ли?
Well, I want to find out who's behind the pickpocketing in the UK. The accusation abroad, it is gypsies from Romania, gypsies from Albania, gypsies from Bulgaria. Now, if it's not true, I want to hear from you what the truth is. I've come here to find out the truth.
Над 200 милиона паунда на година излизат под формата на джипчийски кражби от Обединеното кралство. Над 200 милиона
pounds a year.
Точно така.
200 million pounds.
Пряко влияе на икономиката на тая държава.
Това е нормално, значи една добра джипчийка днеска спокойно се прибира. Спокойно с 6-7 хиляди лири в къщи. Нормално, спокойно.
We just had lunch with the Euro-Roma party. Mr. Kanchev, their leader, was very eloquent and a fine host. He certainly had the backing of the other clansmen there. One thing he was very clear about was his disliking for the Kalarashi. He said they are responsible for the majority of the pickpocketing that happens in London, and he said they're making in the region of £200 million a year. What we need to do now is try and find the Kalarashi and put those accusations to them. After a traditional 5-hour gypsy lunch, we head back to Sofia. To have any chance of tracking down the Kalarashi, I need a better understanding of how the Roma gypsies operate in Bulgaria today. To give me an overview, I've got in touch with a well-known journalist who's had first-hand experience of the criminality that exists within the Roma community. Her name is Margarita Minerva. How dangerous are the people that we're trying to investigate?
В България е много трудно да кажеш истината. И 2 опита за убийство. Който си позволи да каже истината, най-лесно е да го уволнат и да го убият.
One of the things I've also heard is that, you know, that the gypsies operate pickpockets, like the Kalarashi particularly, are pickpockets. Others run prostitution rackets. They sell and deal in drugs.
Циганите крадат, циганите проституират, а нима българите не крадат и българите не проституират. Искам да ти кажа, Рос, че лидерите на циганите се заиграват с мафията на държавата.
Do you think that, from what your knowledge in terms of your investigations, do you think that the UK is seen as a soft target?
Да, защо да не е лесна мишена самият? Значи, вие трябва да видите нещо вътре във вашата държава, какво да направите, за да ги спрете. Но тези циганки, които отиват да проституират и да крадат в Англия, те са острието на пирамидата. Отзад организацията е друга.
Yeah, exactly.
Друг ги праща. Те не са виновни.
Despite Margarita's warnings, I still want to hear the Calderashi side of the story. I put a call into one of our fixers to see if she can track them down and arrange a meeting. Finding the Calderashi is proving more difficult than we thought. However, finding gypsy girls working as prostitutes on the main roads out of Sofia isn't. It's Sunday afternoon and the lay-bys are full of young girls practicing the oldest profession in the world. We're put in touch with a group of gypsy prostitutes and their pimps.
We've come to a place called Družba. We've arranged to meet up with some gypsy guys, they're pimps. They're going to talk to us about how their organisation works, how they go about running the girls. And also, they've said that we're allowed to talk to actually the girls that they run, the prostitutes. So, maybe we'll find out a little bit more about the actual infrastructure and who ultimately is controlling these guys and the girls that they run.
After what I've witnessed so far, it's hard to believe that prostitution is illegal in Bulgaria. And therefore, the pimps and their girls have asked to meet us at a secret location.
Hello, pleased to meet you. Obviously, don't say your names. You tell me, guys, what you do for a living. And how much money would you make then in a day or in a week?
На ден по 100-150, зависи на момиче, зависи, да. Зависи от дена, да. Делим 50 на 50.
Do you have to pay it to someone above you?
Да, има си... които си събират рекет. Те са от български происход.
They're Bulgarians?
Да.
Have any of you ever thought about going to the United Kingdom and working?
Да, съм мисля по този въпрос много пъти и сега мисля до година живот и здраве да отида в чужбина.
Is it alright if I speak to the girls that you brought with you?
Да, няма проблем.
Hello girls, thank you for talking to us. Can I ask you, what made you do it? What makes you do it?
Мене ме накараха.
Who forced you?
Накара ме едно момче. Бях на 17. Каза ми, че ще работя друга работа. И в другия момент идва клиент с едно момиче. И отивам в един апартамент и клиента вика да се съблека. Аз ревем и не искам. Момичето ми казва, дай да спи с него и ще си ходиме, къде не те бие. И аз спах с него и слезнах, тръгнахме си. След това едно друго момче ме излага, че ще ме пази. И почина да ме другира с цигара.
Trucking,
Да, на цигара, за да може да ми вземе парите, иначе не си давам парите.
In the UK, there are many girls from Bulgaria working as prostitutes and from other girls from Eastern Europe. Would you girls ever want to go to the UK and work there?
Аз да, защото не съм пробила в Англия. Но
англичаните са много добри.
По телевизия, така я съм гледала, горе-долу е хубаво. Там.
Добре.
Would you have to go with the guys, with the pimp, or would you go on your own?
Специално с него и на края на света, как и думата.
Whatever the girls were saying, their pimps were just behind me while we were talking. So, you know, highly unlikely they were going to start slagging off the blokes that ultimately control them when they're standing 10 metres away. They looked malnourished to me. They look too poor, and I don't believe they're earning that kind of money. I do actually believe that they're having to pay money to Bulgarians. However, you know, we have no proof of this yet, so we're just going to have to carry on. I mean, one thing's for sure, I don't think what we've been told at the moment is anywhere close to the truth and what's actually going on here in Sofia.
I'm saddened by the way these young women have to live their lives. But there are right-wing organisations here who have little sympathy for them or the Gypsy community and would like to see them removed from the country.
Насякъде е един и същ, не е само в България. Насякъде са като кърлежи, които смучат от държавата.
I'm in Bulgaria trying to meet up with the gypsy gangs who are said to operate on the streets of Britain. I've been told the clan that everyone blames for gypsy crime, both here and in the UK, is called the Kalderashi. But getting a meeting with them is proving more than difficult. In the meantime, I'm travelling to Plovdiv, Bulgaria's second largest city. Like Sofia, Plovdiv has its own gypsy ghetto. I'm struck by the levels of poverty and the lack of sanitation and the fact that the streets are overflowing with filth and rubbish. Most of the people here seem disillusioned. And while I can't condone it, with such high levels of unemployment, it's understandable why many of the people here turn to criminality. In a country of 7 million, where 1 in 6 is a gypsy, there are an increasing number of Bulgarians who believe they are being run out of their own country. I've arranged to meet Blood and Honour, a skinhead group that has its origins in the UK.
Right, we arranged to meet the Blood and Honour guys about 2 hours ago now. I don't know if something spooked them or whatever, but they've changed location twice. We're now walking up a mud track in a woods outside of Plovdiv, and somewhere up here we're expecting to bump into the Blood and Honour guys. I have to say, this is a bit like the blind leading the blind, though. Average Tuesday night, out looking for Nazis in woods. There you go. Or skinheads, I should say. If I look around you, I'm not going to ask you your ages, but you're all, I would say, in your early 20s, if not younger, yeah? Why is there a right-wing national movement sweeping across Bulgaria at the moment?
Защото нашите родители, докато са спали и са допуснали целият този комунизъм, ние решаваме, че трябва да вземем нещата в ръце и да направим нещо за бъдещето на нашите деца.
And what do you feel about the gypsies, for instance, being in Bulgaria?
Циганите са много голям проблем за България.
Освен те получават еднократни помощи за това, че са родили едно от 5, 20 или еди колко си деца и след това ги пращат момичета да проституират, нали, като джипчи, да крадат и от това се издържат. Не плащат сметки.
Самия етнос, цигани, насякъде е един и същ, не е само в България. Насякъде са като кърлежи, които смучат от държавата.
What can you do as an organisation to stop the gypsies from doing what they're doing?
Хората ги е страх да кажат, че са като нас, а много голяма част от тях мислят. Ако те всички, примерно, и ние се съберем и бъдем едно цяло, всъщност циганите няма да имат толкова голяма сила в обществото.
България е огромен, в Румъния е огромен, навсякъде е огромен и ще продължи да се разраства, ако не бъдат справени циганите тук и не бъдат събрани по някакъв начин.
As they explained, you know, they see that their parents sat back and watched Bulgaria slip backwards, and they think because of that there's been a rise in criminality. The government have done nothing about it. That's why they're forming these organisations.
Blood and Honour are an underground organisation, but back in Sofia there is another right-wing group that is far more public about its views.
They're a group that was formed to protect white Bulgarians from gypsies and from other ethnic minorities in the country. They train and they march, and also they wear uniforms.
The Bulgarian National Guard was formed in 2007. This footage was shown on Bulgarian television. It reminds me of the propaganda films made by the Nazis in the late 1920s.
Do people wave at you and smile, or are people scared to see you on the streets?
No. People in this district know us very well because they can't rely on the police. They look to someone to care for them and to protect them when it's needed.
Why did you join the Bulgarian National Alliance?
I joined it because I want to see Bulgaria a strong and mighty country as it was ages ago. Everything is full of scum around us, the streets are full of rubbish and the things are not going well. We want to change things. The people in the government in Bulgaria, they are all criminals. They are connected with the mafia.
They are former communists.
Yes.
Most of them were working for the
past communist regime.
Yes, and for the communist secret service.
What do you think about the other people that live in your country, say for instance the gypsies that live here?
There are a lot of racists and extremists in this country, but they are not Bulgarians. They are mainly Gypsy and Turks. The Gypsy racists, they got battle groups on the streets who beat Bulgarians, they rape Bulgarian girls, they steal from the shops, and they do a lot of illegal things. But they must know that we are masters in this country. This state was found by our ancestors, and we must rule this country.
The young men I've met blame the government and the police for not resolving what they call the gypsy problem.
Thank you for agreeing to...
I want to see how the police are dealing with the situation, so I join them on patrol on the streets of Sofia. As in the UK, pickpockets take advantage of the rush hour. I was hoping to see gypsy pickpocket gangs in action, but with our cameras and the police presence, they saw us before we saw them.
How organised are these pickpocketing gangs?
Това си е така семейно препитание един вид. Всички приходи се събират при големия, който е ръководител на клана, и съответно надолу се разпределят надолу по стълбицата на кой колкото му отпуснат от
We've been told that the people who are controlling and trafficking these young gypsy pickpockets are actually Bulgarians and they're mafioso. Have you heard anything like that?
Не.
After 2 hours with no arrests, we head back to the station.
And what happens to them once they're arrested?
Закарваме ги в районното, установяват се, след което ги поемат оперативни, криминална и след това вече може да има някой осъден, може или ги изкарват принудително извън столицата и след време пак се връщат.
Aren't you wasting your time then, really? If you have to release them and they're back out on the streets, it just...
Така излиза.
It's a waste of time.
Да.
The police seemed to have their hands tied, and their frustration was evident. After weeks of trying, we finally get a phone call from the Kalderashi. They've agreed to an interview, but only on their own terms.
All right, well, these look like our guys. They are bandanaed up. They're members of the Kalderashi, and we're going to put to them the accusations that not only we've heard from the Bulgarians, but also the accusations that were placed at their feet by the other Romas, the other Gypsies. We've been told by Roma people and by Bulgarians that you specialise in pickpocketing. Is that true?
Не, това е дарено от Господа. Значи това е било преди много време. Българите са взимали земите, взимаха всичко, а на нас нищо не остана. И просто някак да оцелеем.
We've heard accusations from people in the Euro-Roma party, from Don Setse and other people, that the Kalderashi don't need to steal, that they're rich, they're just doing it because they like money and they like having money.
Далаверджии няма, защото той е най-големият далаверджия, той е най-богатия, той има всичко.
Well, not just him, other people in the Roma community said of the Kalderashi that they are responsible for 99.9% of all the pickpocketing in London done by the Roma.
Не. Това не може да бъде, защото мисля, че Калдараши не може да има в Лондон. Но не е казано, че като крадем, ние просто крадем за оцеляване. Просто работата не ни дават. Нашите досиета са вече омърсени. Може да съм бил малък, но то вече се отчапало ми досието и че не мога да се намеря работа.
You have some of your wives, some of your family that will talk to us, some of the girls.
Няма проблем, заповядайте.
Merci. Kalderashi, eh?
Ромски цигани сме от крадливите.
You're the gypsies that steal. You're famous for it, aren't you?
Да.
When do you learn to steal? What age are you when you're taught?
Еми, на колко години? Зависи.
От 12 на 15.
Are the Kalderashi the only type of Roma people that steal?
Има ги
Всички крадат, не е само Калдараши.
Няма кой да ни краде, за да си хранва децата.
What do you look for in terms of someone who you're going to steal of? Is there someone particular you will look at and go, that's a person that we will steal of?
Няма. Ето сме си ни.
Ние гледаме да си имаме да има за децата.
What areas are the best areas to do it? Is it in stations?
Да, и на спирките, както на магазините. Кай трамвай. На трамвай, много на трамвая.
What's the easiest thing to steal from someone?
Така като е джоба, някой българин в джоба му, когато е тогава. Отвънка. Яки има, е така като тебе. Така. Няма нищо тук.
Like my phone? Apart from this? That's gone. Mercy, you can show me how you do it later. When she put her hand in my jacket, you know, and obviously I was aware that she was about to do it, but I couldn't actually feel her put her hands inside my coat pocket at all. You know, I mean, in terms of the morals of what they do, they know it's wrong. However, they said that it's also part of their tradition and their customs to, you know, to steal and to pickpocket. They didn't look like they were living in the kind of houses that the people in the Euro-Roma party were living in. That said, you know, what do we know? We could have been duped completely. We don't know, you know, what ultimately goes on inside the world, the Roma world. You know, how can we begin to guess what's really going on there?
As we're about to leave Bulgaria, we get a phone call from our contact in Falcu-Teta. He wants me to meet up with a couple of young men who have spent time working in the UK as Roma criminal gang.
Понеже не трябва да се разбере това и се касае за мен тук в България.
It's my last day in Bulgaria, and I'm back where I started 2.5 weeks ago, in Falcu-Teta.
We've managed to get an interview with two guys who will talk about their criminal past. One was involved in prostitution, the other one in pickpocketing, and they both operated in the UK. Now, they're only prepared to speak to us if we keep their identities hidden, because the bosses they work for in the UK are still active and they're scared of reprisals. Hello? I'm Ross Kemp, pleased to meet you.
Да не ме познават тия хора, защото тук са си хора с връзки и така нататък и са опасни.
He's understandably nervous. He's never spoken openly about his experience in the UK before, not even to his own family. His paranoia gets the better of him and he changes his mind, which just proves to me how dangerous his boss must be. The next man is not so scared.
И понеже не трябва да се разбере това и се касае за мен тук в България, с тия хора, които съм работил в Англия, имат много силни връзки в България. Те са разпространени в цяла Европа.
Was it a gypsy gang that you were working for?
Не, всичко се държи от българска група.
What were you actually doing when you were in the UK?
Започва се с джипчество, има проституиране и вкарват инвалиди от България в Англия. Въпросът и движих се с джипшиките заедно с тях. Метро, оживени места, където има поне 5-6, аз се движих с 5-6.
How much money would the 5 girls make in a day?
Сме стигали в евро, ще го кажа, от 2000 евро.
2,000 euros a day?
Да.
That's a lot of money, isn't it? They were all gypsy girls in the gang, were they?
И почти бяха всички, да.
Were they part of the Kalarashi?
Да. И имахме бая проблеми с тях. И те са, кърдарашите са като циганите, само че с други обичаи и други религии. Не са баш като циганите. При тях е, като се жени, я плаща тази жена и я води да краде и работи за него. Семейство.
How were these girls, these prostitute girls and the pickpockets, how were they treated?
Те си имаха стари момичета, които работят доста време, с по-старите момичета добре, с другите зверски. Защото те се опитваха, нали, да си дойдат, не искат да проституират, не са съгласни на неговите правила, но просто с течение на времето няма къде и няма как, няма пари, няма да вземат разграничен паспорт.
So are they locked up in these rooms?
Заключени, водят им клиенти, спът си с тях. Аз бях свидетел майка и дъщеря, как на едното легло с майката си спът, другото дъщерята гледа, после обратното. С дъщерята спът, майката гледа и няма как да си дойде.
So the mother and the daughter are locked in the room and they're both work as prostitutes and they can't get out. How do they get those people into the UK?
Имат си човек тук, който им задейства всички работи. За гранични паспорти, пътувания, билети, самолети, посрещане, всичко.
So they're actually people that specialize in transporting those girls into the UK?
Да. И тук си имат хора, затова ти казвам, че навсякъде в цяла Европа имат връзки с такова.
What would happen to you if the boss found out that you'd given this interview to us?
Аз доста рискувам, да ти кажа честно. Но трябва да се спре тази престъпност, понеже се отвръщавам всеки ден по телевизията, гледам все нещо стане от циганин, все нещо такова и цигани не върши тия престъпления, да ти кажа често. Всичко е ръководено от българин.
Okay, thank you very, very much for your time and your honesty. Thank you. Merci. Quite shocked about the human trafficking. You know, I've heard that it exists in the UK, but I've never had anyone tell me or talk to me that was actually involved in it. And the idea of, you know, a mother and a daughter being locked up in a room, fed, and then abused like that is very shocking. Also, the organisation seems to be rather large. They couldn't actually tell us the numbers involved, but it would appear that, you know, both sides, whether it be in Bulgaria or whether it be in the UK, these people are highly organised and they're clearly making a lot of illegal money.
It's easy to blame the gypsies from Eastern Europe for all the pickpocketing and prostitution on the streets of the UK. But the truth is always more complicated.
The one thing that's become apparent during the making of this programme is that they are just a link in a highly organised chain that stretches across the borders of Europe. That's not to say that the gypsies are the victims in all of this. They admit to prostitution and to pickpocketing and openly say they view the UK as a soft target. Undoubtedly, it's hard in such a short period to change its ways overnight. That said, the fact that the European Union are refusing to hand out £400 million in grants has to be viewed as a clear indication to the Bulgarian government's house in order.
For exclusive content, head to Kemp and hit your red button now for Kemp video exclusives and unseen interviews too. Tomorrow night, the brothers' battle to break in continues, and there's the small matter of locating Sarah. Don't miss brand new Prison Break. That's Tuesday at 10 here on Sky One. But next tonight, Rocky 2.